Hello, you're watching UZREPORT.NEWS and I'm Bahram Gafarov. The number of infection cases in Uzbekistan has reached 13. According to the Ministry of Health, the spouse of Uzbek citizen who returned from London on March 14 has also been diagnosed with COVID-19. In addition, a man who returned from Istanbul has tested positive for the infection. All of the patients are in satisfactory condition and they are receiving treatment in compliance with standards, the Health Ministry said in an official statement on Wednesday. The first 3 cases of infection with COVID-19 were detected in Kyrgyzstan today, the Kyrgyz Health Minister Cholpanbayev announced. 3 citizens who have recently returned from Umrah pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia have tested positive for COVID-19. Another citizen of Kyrgyzstan who is currently in the United Arab Emirates has also been diagnosed with the infection. Meanwhile, the total number of novel coronavirus cases in Kazakhstan jumped to 35 as the press service of Kazakh Ministry of Health reported. 5 more new cases of coronavirus have been registered, 4 in Almaty, 1 in Nur-Sultan. Uzbekistan's travel companies, public organizations and large industrial enterprises were recommended to suspend all their activities related to the development of domestic tourism until COVID-19 situation in the country is stabilized. The decision was made on March 17 by the Uzbek Cabinet of Ministers Special Commission, the press service of the State Committee for Tourism said on Wednesday. The Deputy Prime Minister of Uzbekistan, Aziz Abduhakimov, announced that all visas for foreign nationals currently in the country will be automatically extended until April 10th. No late fees or penalties will be charged to those who have overstayed their visas due to the current coronavirus outbreak and borders closing. According to the official, all foreigners holding Uzbek Airway tickets will be provided with a seat on a chartered flight. The rest will be able to purchase tickets. All fines for returned air and train tickets will be cancelled, both for Uzbek people as well as foreigners. The government urged its guests to stay calm and has set up a dedicated office to work with foreign citizens to help them in all possible ways. The central bank announced measures to mitigate possible credit risks associated with the fallout of the coronavirus infection. These measures will include a 6-month grace period on the repayment of loans for businesses that have been affected by the outbreak. The following report has further details. In an attempt to lessen possible negative effects on businesses that have loan payments to make and decreased revenue due to the coronavirus outbreak, the central bank recommended that all commercial banks carefully look into companies' ability to repay loans, especially enterprises that have a decrease in cash flow and delay in the implementation of projects due to the spread of coronavirus infection, including the tourism and international freight transport sectors, business entities with major counterparts in countries with the highest prevalence of coronavirus, as well as any enterprises whose activities may be negatively affected by the preventative measures taken in Uzbekistan to battle coronavirus. Based on the results of a study of actual cash flow and customer capacity, as well as the expected timing of the projects, it's recommended to review the terms of the loan agreement and make amendments to provide grace period for the repayment of the principal debt on the loan until October 1st, 2020, and to extend the deadlines for repayments depending on when the grace period was granted. Additionally, commercial banks were instructed not to change the classification of loan, the terms of which were revised based on the above recommendations.
China gradually withdrew medical workers on Tuesday from Hubei province, the origin of the coronavirus outbreak where most of the infections were, after the number of new cases dwindled. Medical workers who had traveled to Hubei province from other provinces across China left Wuhan on Tuesday afternoon, after China announced that it had passed the peak of epidemic last week. Nearly 350 medical teams and more than 42,600 medical workers were sent to help with treatment in Hubei province, according to China's top health commission. The rising risk of imported cases prompted some parts of the country to tighten monitoring of foreign travelers, and the Chinese foreign minister on Tuesday advised its citizens to avoid travel to high-risk countries. In contrast to the growing number of imported cases, mainland China had only 1 case of locally transmitted infection on Monday in Wuhan, where the flu-like disease appeared in humans late last year.
European countries recently announced more powerful measures to contain COVID-19, including further travel restrictions as the novel coronavirus is spreading fast in the region. Member states of the European Union agreed at a video conference on Tuesday to take several measures, including imposing travel restrictions on non-European Union citizens in an effort to contain COVID-19 outbreak.
The meeting stressed that EU support coronavirus-related research, information sharing, and developing vaccines in particular. In Spain, the confirmed cases have risen to 11,826, with 533 deaths and 1,028 cured patients, according to the data released on Wednesday. The Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez announced Tuesday afternoon that the Spanish government will take multiple measures to stabilize the national economy, including a package of 20 billion euros to contain the outbreak, the largest sum of the funds invested in epidemic prevention and control ever in Spain. In Italy, where the current death rate is the highest in the world, a total of 31,506 patients had been confirmed, with the death toll reaching 2,503 and 2,941 patients cured by noon on Wednesday. Tuesday saw a rise of 3,526 cases, according to the Italian government, at a press conference that it would invest 330 billion British pounds to alleviate the impact of COVID-19 on the British society.
Major airlines sought a U.S. government bailout of more than $50 billion as the White House urgently worked on drafting a financial assistance package in the wake of the steep fall-off in travel caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The trade group representing American Airlines, United, Delta, Southwest and others said in order to survive, the industry needs $25 billion in grants, the same amount in loans and in addition tax relief. If it doesn't get all that, airlines could run out of money by the end of the year, warns American Airlines. The company plans to cut 75% of its international flights through May 6 and ground nearly all its wide-body fleet.
New York has already taken drastic measures to fight the spread of the coronavirus, including closing schools, theaters, bars, and restaurants. But New Yorkers could soon face more severe restrictions. That's according to New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Is even though a decision has not yet been made by the city or by the state, I think New Yorkers should be prepared right now for the possibility of a shelter-in-place order.
As of Tuesday afternoon, there were over 800 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in New York City as officials raced to limit the spread. Following de Blasio's shelter-in-place warning, Governor Andrew Cuomo's secretary tweeted some cold water on de Blasio's statement. Blanket quarantine shelter-in-place policies require state action, and there is no consideration of that at this time. Earlier on Tuesday, Cuomo sought to quash similar rumors.
No city in the state can quarantine itself without state approval. And I have no interest whatsoever and no plan whatsoever to quarantine any city.
Across the country, officials in 6 San Francisco Bay Area counties did order residents to stay home Tuesday for all but the most crucial outings until April 7th. The order applies to some 6.7 million people.
Good? Yeah.
As New York State troopers were fitted with respirator masks in the state's infection hotspot in New Rochelle, U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper announced Tuesday that the military will contribute millions of those masks across the country.
The Department of Defense will make available up to 5 million N95 respirator masks and other personal protective equipment from our own strategic reserves to the Department of Health and Human Services for distribution. The first 1 million masks will be made available immediately.
Esper also said he is considering activating the National Guard to assist states in their coronavirus fight.
Joe Biden coasted to a blowout victory over Bernie Sanders with Democratic primary victories in 3 U.S. states on Tuesday. He crushed Sanders by nearly 40 percentage points in Florida and easily carried Illinois and Arizona too. It puts pressure on Sanders to end his campaign as chances for a comeback dwindle. As the votes came in, the former vice president made a more somber national address from his home, calling for national unity amid the coronavirus outbreak.
You know, tackling this pandemic is a national emergency, akin to fighting a war. And it's going to require leadership and cooperation from every level of government.
Sanders also used his address to talk about the coronavirus.
Our country and, in fact, the world are facing an unprecedented series of crises.
As the pandemic reaches across the country, polls ahead of the 3 primaries found a majority of voters trusted Biden more than Sanders to handle a major crisis. 7 out of 10 voters polled also believed Biden had the best chance of beating Trump. The dominating wins were a sign Democrats were ready to rally behind Biden in the race to pick a challenger to US President Donald Trump in the November 3rd election.
These were the latest news for today. Goodbye.